Hello, hello, hello. How we doing, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from all over the world? Aye, it's me again. I thought I'd bring you a wee updated build video with the whole new expansion being out. You've had a look at a couple of the videos of me playing with the axe. It's pretty wild, so thought I would run you through the build. Right, so I'm going to start with a wee quick update on the Boonbender build from before. Everything's pretty much the same, except now because you don't get the resistance and protection on combat entering from the durability rune. All you do is, if you really want, you can switch it to Vanguard's tactics on your trait line, and you can activate resistance and protection and stuff with your F3, or you could keep the Fury and Might uptime. It's up to yourself, but that is pretty much the only difference. I'm still using durability because I still like the extra vitality, toughness, and obviously being Boonbender, we like the boon uptime. I'm sure there's other options. I think I was going to try Reaper because that has some boon duration and toughness and stuff, so we'll maybe try that at another point, but for now I'm staying with durability and Rune of the Relic of the Defender. There's not a lot. I mean, if you wanted to go for more offensive stuff, you could take Fireworks or whatever it is, because that's 20 seconds long. You would trigger it there. You could take Brawler because you're always putting resolution on yourself. But I like to play defensively with the Boonbender, so I've went for the Relic of the Defender. But that's the only changes for the Boonbender. Right, so now we can move on to the axe build that everybody's been kind of looking at on YouTube and asking me what it is. So we'll start off with the trait choices. So Radiance, I go 3, 3 and 3. Healer's Resolution is because the more resolution I have, the more this trait will apply might to me, and it will give me an extra 25% damage when I have resolution as well, so those two work super well together. The minor one here, that recharges when you kill someone on the F1, so that's handy. This is just a flat out 10% damage increase when you have resolution, and because you're running virtues, you're always going to have resolution. Like, everything you do will give you resolution pretty much. So yeah, you're always going to have 10% there. This is really good. When you hit them with your F1, you will trigger burning on the target, and it will automatically stick your ferocity up to 150 and give you an extra 10% on your crit chance. So that takes that up to 47 right away. So that's handy. And this one is really good. As long as you've got resolution, you will gain might, and you will gain extra crit chance, so that's an extra 25%. So that's 35%, so that's already taken that up to well over 70 odds. And with the, and when with Fury as well, it goes up, so don't worry that that's low. Next one is Virtues. This first thing is, I don't know if people just don't really notice it, and that's why they usually run like Honor. No, what's the other one? Valor. Like, I've seen people choose Valor over Virtues. I don't know why, but like this, even just this minor one at the start gives you an extra 1% damage per boon. So if you're running Save Yourselves, that's 9% or 8% damage right there. So before you've even done anything, you've given yourself an extra 18% damage just off Retribution on the Radiant straight line, and this that you don't even have to spec into. So that's ridiculous. Then you go for Unscathed Contender, so that is potentially another 14% extra damage if you have Aegis when you do your burst, and you will because you start off with an F3, so you'll always have an Aegis before your attack. So that's an extra part of the burst. This minor one is just the whole resolution thing, which helps with everything else. Absolute Resolve Gotta love the little extra heal and the 3 Conde removal on F2. So this actually will remove like 5 Condes or something? I can't remember. But it's pretty ridiculous. I mean, if you really wanted to go for an all-out damage build, you could use Virturing Inspiration, and you could probably swap out Contemplation of Purity for Whirling Light, and that would just be ridiculous. But as I say, I always like to have defensive utilities. Like none of my utilities are offensive. Everything I do on my utility bar is a stun break. So yeah. Then the next one, Conde damage is based on vitality, which, you know, you're not using anything Conde based, but you actually have 263 Conde damage just from that, and the burn ticks can actually stack up, even though you're not really spec'd into Conde at all. You can tick up to 1,000 burn ticks, and people think you're silly, and it's really funny. But yeah, it's quite surprising. And this Indomitable Courage gives stability on your F3 and makes your F3 a stun break. So I have 4 stun breaks on this build, plus a stupid amount of stability. So if I ever get locked down in a CC chain and die, that's definitely my own fault because I'm an idiot. So that's how all that kind of works in synergy. And then we have the Willbender, which there it is. So this doesn't really do anything. The first one, the damage increase in power. The Willbender flames deal damage, which is pretty good for cleaving. So you can like F1 onto a downed, or you can F3 onto a downed, and it will pulse and hurt them, and this will trigger more Aegis because you hit them. So it's pretty handy that the flames do damage. This is awesome. That's just a flat out 25% movement speed increase, and you get swiftness. So I mean, really, you could really troll people and use the Relic of Speed or whatever it is that everyone's running at the minute. So next one would be Holy Reckoning. Again, I use this because I just like the damage. You can run more protection and resolution and resistance on F3, but you already get protection and resolution from F3 anyway. All you're gaining is 3 seconds resistance, and you don't really need it. So I go for the damage. And you don't really need the Vigor, because you can actually get Vigor from Longbow 4 if you just cast it on yourself. You can pulse Vigor, so you don't really need that. So yeah, I go Holy Reckoning. Lethal Tempo is, again, just straight up damage increaser. So when you're doing your burst, you're giving yourself an extra 5% there, and that's 7%, sorry, because you get the 5% and the 3%. And the more you do it, so you can F1, F2, you'll build up stacks of it, and it'll just increase your damage by quite a bit. And yeah, that's why we take the last one. It's just, it gives you that extra 3% damage. You can go to this one, and it'll give you Alacrity, and it'll trigger your burst better. But then if you're running Fireworks, you don't want that, because then you won't be able to trigger Fireworks, because this will be less than 20 seconds, and you know, I just stick with the raw damage. So that's it for the traits. I'll show the utilities are Stand Your Ground, Contemplation of Purity, and Save Yourself. I think they're all pretty self-explanatory. They're all stun breaks, and this is a good group stun break. This will actually stun break your whole group if there's 5 of you, and give them all stab and reso. This is a self stun break, and it will convert all the conditions on you into boons, which is, again, always good. And this one, always use this one before you go into combat, because if you read the tooltip, it actually draws conditions to you. So if you really wanted to be smart, you could actually go in, do this, take all the Condes, and then convert them all with Contemplation of Purity if you really wanted lots more boons. But I tend to open the fight we save yourself, so I have all the boons, and it saves me another stun break for later. But yeah, that's it for, oh, and renewed focus is always run that. You could swap out the heal for the signet heal, which is probably better. I'm just used to running this. I like the two blocks you can get from it. But this is probably an overall better heal, and it passively cures condies, which is really good. So that's it for the traits and utilities. We can move on to the gear, I guess. So it's just full Dragon's Gear. Don't know why there's a concentration one in there. So full Dragon's Gear with all the infusion slots being might. Same with all the traits. Weapons are all dragons, and I use the Relic of the Brawler. So as soon as I hit my save yourself, that's an extra 10%, and that also triggers that retribution trait line, so that's a 20%, and then obviously the 8% with all the boons, so that's 20 odd %, and then there's another 14, so that's like 34 odds, I can't do the math, % damage increase just by hitting save yourself. So yeah, so you want to get in there and burst pretty quickly, because it only lasts 4 seconds. But once you do get in there and burst within the 4 seconds, on top of all your damage, it's that extra modifiers are pretty insane. For the runes, I use the rune of the Dragon Hunter. You can use Scholar if you want. The only difference is you get more power than Ferocity. I don't know the number crunching aspect of it. I don't know if more raw power deals more damage over higher crit damage. I don't know. For now I'm running Dragon Hunter. I just like it. I like the big crit numbers. But somebody could probably crunch the numbers and tell me I'm wrong. So in that case, run Scholar. You do you guys. For the weapons, I'm running Rage on my axe, Cleansing on my sword, and Vision and Cleansing on my bow. Cleansing everywhere, because I hate Condi classes and I hate Selly, so I want all the removal I can. So I have, every time I swap my weapon, I have this that cleans Condis. I've got this that can help me ignore some Condis, and Contemplation of Purity, which will cleanse everyone. So yeah, I run double cleansing. You could run air on this as well for an extra burst if you wanted, but as I say, I do like my defensive stuff. But also, longbow is probably not optimal if you're roaming alone. It's really fun if you're doing it in a group. I use it because I think it's hilarious that I can 11k people from really far away, and I'm not even a dragon hunter. And it pierces and cripples people, and it's got good CC. But these are all good things for group play. If you're going to be a solo roamer, I would probably try running sword shield or sword focus in your offhand. I would tell you why, but it'll make this video way longer than it needs to be. So optimally, I would go for something a bit more defensive than longbow. This is just preference, because I'm a child and I like big numbers. I think that's pretty much it for the gear. Yeah, that's that. So let's go on to the actual burst itself, and like what I do to do the burst. So as you saw earlier, when I pop my save yourself and my F3, and I give myself all these boons because of this, it will probably take me up to 10%. Then I get 14, 24%, 34%, and then the brawler will activate, so that's 44% damage increase with all that, and then my ferocity will increase as well as my critical chance with this. So what you want to do is, because the brawler only lasts 4 seconds, you want to try and get it done as quickly as possible. So what you want to do is you want to trigger save yourself, F3 as close as possible, drop your axe 2, your symbol, and then pull them into your symbol with axe 3, and then you can immobilize them and then burst them with your sword skills while they're in the symbol. So I'll show you what it kind of looks like. And then F1. And then I can highly recommend just auto attacking. The auto attack on the axe is ridiculous. This Searing Slash, 2 activations, 3 activations, 22k. The Searing Slash is the 3rd attack on the axe. So when it hits every 3 times, you're averaging what? So averaging 3,792 damage with just the auto attack on average. And that's only the 3rd one. The Core Cleave hit for 6 activations, and it hit for 7k. And Bleeding Edge is the 2nd attack in the chain. It hit 3 times, and it hit for 10k. Like, so the auto attacks alone are just mental. Like, I'm just auto attacking. Oh, I should probably give myself Fury. But yeah, 7k there. Yeah, so I would highly recommend just cleaving them out when you get them all down after your burst. But that's essentially the rotation. Is save your cell, F3, Axe 2, Axe 3 to pull them, Sword 5 to immobilize and slow them into the symbol, and then your big burst with Executioner's Calling. And because you're using Rage, it will do it all under quickness. You could swap this out for Celerity, but it only triggers after disabling a foe. So if you miss your axe pull, you don't have quickness, and you won't have quickness for like until your pull is ready again. So that's why I use Rage. You could, if you think you're gonna get the pull, use Celerity because it's slightly longer uptime on quickness, but I like the Rage on hit. So yeah, that's the axe burst. As for the longbow, that's just a case of after you've tried to smash everyone, you can run away and then just baby gate them with longbow 5, longbow 4, and you can do a big 10k true shot and just auto attack, because the auto attack does 2-3k damage and it pierces, so you can get a couple of people with it. You can trigger cripple if you hit 2 people with it, and it's only 8 seconds for your true shot again, so you'll be alright. But yeah, as I say, longbow really good in groups, not the most optimal if you're like solo roaming, but yeah, you can get quite a good burst with it. You get some Fury and then another nearly a 10k there. But yeah, the CC and this is such an annoying skill. I wish they would change this because it hardly ever hits. But it is a handy CC and it's unblockable and it pierces, so you can hit several people with it. But yeah, the CC is really good with the longbow. So it's really good with groups. Solo, not so good, but you know, it's personal preference. As I say, I like getting those stupidly big true shots. But yeah, I mean, as I say, it's all up to how you guys personally like to play builds. This is how I've set it up. You guys can set it up slightly different. Just as long as you've got Rage on your axe for the quickness, and you remember to pop your symbol down first and then pull, then yeah, you should get happy fun bursts. I hope you like it. Give me a shout if you've tried it. Need a hand with anything, feel free to message me in game. My in-game name is thechief.3609. Hit me up with a message and yeah, enjoy the build.